So originally I was going to start with Luke or Ryu, because the demo has been out for so long and these two are the guys we've had the most experience with. But you know me, I like me some beef. And Zangief has all that and a bag of chips. So grab your glue, paste or lead-based paints, along with that supersized spoon, and join me as we make this burr-slamming Spudnik the most feared man in Street Fighter history. Probably. But before we do anything, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, pile drive the bell thingy, and follow me on the Twitch and Twitters for all your gaming needs. Now with that said, I am Tech and this is my guide to being the best Zangief player you can possibly be. Probably. Now Zangief is what is known as a grappler. He's all about the high damaging unblockable throws with slightly awkward inputs that can seem intimidating at first, but once we've done this guide, you'll have no worries. Grapplers usually don't have much in the combo department unless you're king from Tekken, but they don't usually need it. One Potemkin Buster in Guilty Gear will easily level things out HP wise, and Zangief in this game is no different. But let's talk the moves. Now normally I like to go in the order of normals first, but everything revolves around this one special move that we need to address it first and foremost, and that is the spinning pile driver, or SPD. This is Zangief's iconic signature move, and the bane of all grappler haters. With a fast startup and the damage ramping up depending on if it's light, medium, heavy or overdrive, plus because it's a throw, it will rip through drive impacts and parries like Hulk Hogan used to rip his shirts. Its only real weakness is jumping. As general rule is, you cannot throw a jumping player with ground-based throws. Now the heavy SPD is your meter-free big damage punishing payoff. If you get a drive impact punish counter or a perfect parry, this is what you're going to use. The light version, however, has insane reach, and this is your go-to move in general play to catch your opponents off guard. Now the input, like I said, looks very intimidating. 360-degree motions are one of the biggest turn-offs for fresh fighting game players. But what if I told you there were multiple ways around it? Now some like using attack animations. We'll get to more when we cover those specific moves. But one of the biggest tips I can give is to point out that there is a shortcut. You see, you don't have to do a full 360 motion. A simple half circle into jump forward will suffice. So for regular play and spacing, if you want a quick grab, you use the shortcut. Still takes its time to get used to, but it's a lot less telegraphed than some of the other options. The other way is sort of piggybacking off animations to input the full 360 inputs. The most beginner friendly is just jumping in and using that airtime to get the full 360 motion, then pressing the attack button you need as you land. The only problem with this is you're more than likely going to be snuffed out by anti-air moves, which in this game is actually probably the most dangerous they have ever been. Now using Drive Rush is probably the best option, especially if you know how to use the instant Drive Rush by tapping parry on the second dash input. Zangief's run, while slow, gives you enough time to do the full 360 motion and then some, and with some setups this can give Zangief enough time to force the opponent to make a split decision with their wake up options. Now for normals, we start with his light punches. Both of them. As one, they have OK startup, two are special cancelable, but most importantly, they are advantageous on block. Now if we were to do a full 360 motion for the light SPD from one of these attacks while blocked, the SPD will connect, which is what we call a tick throw. If they block your attack so long as they don't jump, they get grabbed. This can be done with command grabs like the SPD, regular throws, or even greater. Next we have the target combo Machine Gun Chops, performed with 3 standing mediums. This is an interesting target combo as the initial standing medium will not combo into the other 2 hits, unless from a punish counter or a rush. Damage from all 3 hits is quite hefty indeed. In fact, it's on par with some other characters' bread and butter combos. But that isn't the real meat of the move. No, there's a reason that initial standing medium has a bit of a gap. You see, on block, it's super safe, and with the correct spacing, can be used as a tick throw with the light SPD, as even if they use the fastest normal, that just extends their hitbox into grab town. This is even more of a thing from the rush standing medium punch, as you are advantageous on block, and this gives us a big option, as that chop window is very lenient, so if they block, you get your tick throw. But if you land a hit, you can confirm that into the machine gun chops for full damage. Really strong stuff, and the best thing to do is to go into training, set the dummy to random block, and practice the rush chop, keeping your eye out for the green hit splash. You see that finished with the chops. You see the block, but for that 360 motion. This will make you absolutely dangerous. Now, crouching medium punch is no slouch either. It's really safe on block, special cancelable, meaning you can get a rush off it for 3 drive, and off that rush it can link into some other nice attacks, including Hell Stab, the forward crouching medium punch, delivering a nice throat chop that can be special cancelled and will juggle airborne opponents for combos. Fairly safe on block, but very stubby. Not really great for anything other than an extra link to extend combos. Next is his medium kick, as it's got some chunky range. Technically it's unsafe on block and can't be cancelled into anything, but it's not really for that. It's a range check. It keeps the opponent at the right distance for you to use some of your ZANGIEF shenanigans. Same goes for the crouching medium kick. It has slightly less range than standing, but it's even safer on block. And the rush is another tick throw, again giving you more options to work with. So as an example, we've knocked the opponent down, and we go for a rush in. As far as the opponent's concerned, we have 3 options right now. We can go for the standing medium punch, the crouching medium kick, or just a raw light SPD. These 3 options are already a lot to contend with. They block this standing medium, tick throw or more damage. They block the crouching medium kick, another tick throw potential. Or they're just going to get grabbed anyway, so they might have to jump. There is a lot of things the opponent has to think of in order just to be okay. And we're going to be branching even more. Now this is a great one. Forward medium kick or knee hammer. This move is varying on both hit or block depending on how you space it. So on hit you could be either neutral or really advantageous, and on block you can be either unsafe or tick throw territory. But that's not what matters here. No, what matters is its real purpose, the SPD fake out. Knee hammer covers a lot of ground, and say from your starting point, you open with this, we have a few outcomes. They went in for a dash or rush and you have the advantage. They come in and block, the spacing should probably pop you into tick throw territory. Or they respect the kick and you have a perfect SPD on your hands. The only thing that scuppers this is projectiles and jumps. Hell, even the rush version can be dangerous because it's always tick throw territory on block. Next up are the heavies, with standing heavy punch being an interesting normal. Decent on hit with a knockdown via punish counter, and it's safe on block, with the rush being tick throw territory. But what makes this interesting is you can charge it, and if you do, you get 1 hit of armor. That same armor drive impacts are made of. This means you can trade hits and get that punish counter easier, which leaves the opponent with a hard knockdown, meaning they can't roll backwards and get some distance. And with the heavy frame advantage you get, you can rush in and go for the knee hammer and be in perfect place for a nasty SPD as they wake up. Forward heavy punch or headbutt is freaking filthy. It's special cancelable, can link into his crouching light punch normally, or a plethora of attacks from rush or punish, and leaves you advantageous on block straight out the box. Hell, it even covers some ground. The problem is it has a slow starter. Still, it's one of your best block string starters. Because of that advantage and the special cancel, you can spend 3 bars to rush cancel into, say, standing medium and go for tick throws, or get a bit of a mix-up going. Standing heavy kick is the big punish tool. It may be slow starting up, but it's tick throwable from the get-go, very advantageous off rush, and will pop up the opponent for combos on punish. It's also our main juggle link off Hellstab's rush cancel. Next is Cyclone Wheel Kick, or the forward heavy kick, and this is our overhead for the evening. Stupidly slow, death on block, but it dodges lows and sweeps, and if you land that punish, we get a pop-up for some juggle action. Another sweep dodger is Crouching Forward Heavy Kick, the Smetana Drop Kick. It's not much, and again super death on block, with no real pluses other than that sweep dodge and punish. You get that punish off, the opponent rolls, and if they're near a wall, well, it's a free heavy SPD or greater. Okay, let's try and wrap this up as we still have a lot to cover. Jump attacks to look out for are definitely Jump Light Kick, as it's a great vertical opener. Jump Heavy Kick, as it has some decent air-to-air options with some range, and again has some tricks. Once again, you can charge this kick, and while death on block, it will smash the opponent to the wall on hit and bounce them off the wall if that was a punish. The opponent will fall perfectly in range of Hellstab and leads to the highest damage I've come across so far. But that's not all, as to get the kick to land you have to charge it as you jump. If you start charging at the peak of your jump, Zangief will land on his backside and you don't get the kick off. But this is sort of what we call a safe jump, where you go for a jump in attack really late to bait out anti-air moves. And this also gives us another SPD option, as if they respect the kick, you'll land on the floor in perfect SPD range. There you go. Penultimately, for the jump-ins, we have the body press or down heavy punch in the air. This is your best cross-up tool and links into headbutts really well. Lastly, the flying headbutt or up heavy punch is an okay air-to-air option, let down by the fact it can only be done off a vertical jump. This was forward jump as well, it'd be the best air-to-air option as it's special cancelable. Thank you for your patience, but before we reach the specials, we have to look into the regular throws, as Zangief has more than a normal too. Now, his neutral throw is a simple scoop slam that is low in damage but super advantageous, which when held will deliver an elbow drop, dealing the most damage from a regular throw, and it will leave you in a light SPD range, but leave everyone with neutral frame advantage. Back throw will deliver a power slam, switching sides and keeping you real close with decent advantage, but the third lowest damage. While his crouching back throw will deliver a DDT, switching sides but keeping you in knee hammer SPD range, albeit slightly advantageous. Crouching forward throw delivers a spine buster that does really pitiful damage, but leaves you in heavy SPD range with a lot of frame advantage. And lastly, forward throw, which is a German suplex that again ties for second place in damage, but leaves the opponent more or less at starting range, with a slight advantage. These throws can be part of tick throws, and using them correctly is very important. Now to the rest of Zangief's special moves. And spoilers, about 80% of these are grabs. So let's start off with the only strike-based special skill, Double Lariat. This iconic projectile immune attack has Zangief spin with his fists, knocking the opponent up on hit. Nothing you can really do with this, as your spin animation doesn't allow for any real follow-ups. And while it's super cancelable, it only works on the level 3, which will whiff because, spoilers, it's a command throw. The overdrive version is a little better as it will cancel into the level 2 super, which is very useful, but both are super death on block, so it's not something you want to just throw out. It is mainly for getting past projectiles in close range and dealing with aerial based foes. Next is Burst Dynamite, the aerial SPD. Every version has the same startup and damage except for the overdrive, which deals slightly more and is the only way to land the move on a juggled opponent. It's also what is called a Tiger Knee, made famous by Sagat. This is where you do a special move that can be done in the air's input but add a jump or jump forward to it. Now instead of a high leap, you will perform the move slightly off the ground. This opens up a lot of potential for Zangief, and is way easier to do as the half circle jump shortcut means you get this more often than not. Now where this fits in the GIEF'S kit is still around the SPD. This is where our conditioning comes to fruition. So let's go back to our scenario. We've landed a few command grabs and we've had a few tick throws here and there. And now you're going in again for another option. The only way to beat command grabs is by jumping. They know the SPD is coming and they decide to jump. This is because you've conditioned them to go for the jump. You've been doing the same thing over and over and now they think they've caught you out. And if you are already expecting this, you will already be inputting the 360-degree kick motion for Burst Dynamite. Now this can go wrong so easily. Hell, loads of times I have expected them to jump and they've just stood there accepting death, but that's the price we pay. Next are Siberian Express and Russian Suplex, both tied to the same half circle back kick. All versions are the same damage for the respected special, but their overdrives deal more. Russian Suplex, or Atomic Suplex for the old timers, can only be done point blank, deals the most damage and will swap sides, leaving the opponent in perfect rush distance. Siberian Express, the more common of the two, will have Zangief charge in and deliver a muscle bomb, keeping the same side but ending with good frame advantage and the same level of distance as the suplex. But that isn't all. At a set distance, Siberian Express will gain a single hit of armor, shown by this stance. This allows Zangief to kinda deal with projectiles, but it depends on the speed and recovery of the opponents. The overdrive, however, grants 2 hits of armor, and is a decent move to use, albeit a bit slow and reactable, but when it lands it's a seriously good setup tool. Finally, we have Tundra Storm, the most slept on skill in the game. This dragon leg screw is a counter move triggered by most kick based attacks. Doesn't work on low hitting attacks, so Dalsim's standing medium at full range will always be a pain, but his standing heavy means you'll whip him in for the screw. The main reason it's slept on, in my opinion, is outside of completely being Dookie in Street Fighter V, this can counter 8 of the 18 base characters' drive impacts for free. Anon, Kimberly, Yuri, DJ, Cammy, Blanca, Guile, and Chun-Li all have kick-based drive impacts, and all will get the Dragon Screw for some very decent damage. Now, drive impacting the drive impact and going for heavy or overdrive SPD is defo the higher damaging route, but if you are very low on meter and they throw the drive impact out willy-nilly, you have a free fairly damaging counter that ends in a hard knockdown with some slight advantage. For supers, we start with the level 1, Aerial Russian Slam, or Double Liger Bomb as I like to call it. And it's shit bit harsh, I know, but it's a very underwhelming attack that is more another conditioning punish tool as opposed to a real combo ender. The speed, the angle, all make it hard to land in your regular juggles. In fact, a juggling hell stab, the punish from heavy kick, and a crossbody off a punishing drive impact are the only ways to actually land it in a combo. Outside of a slightly more horizontal angle, I wished double lariat would cancel into the level 1, as then we would have a fair combo ender, but As of right now, it's mainly used as an anti-air, and as you can see, it's definitely more predictive than reactionary. We can also combo into this off his level 2 Cyclone Lariat, his V-trigger from 5 repurposed. This move has 2 forms. First, it's a pull into command grab that has Zangief deliver a beefy damaging jackhammer that would make Goldberg proud. Or was he concussed? Concussions with pride. The other, when you hold the attack button down, is basically his full V-trigger. Multiple hits that, at the cost of damage, will pop up for a juggle combo. Now, the damage you deal with Jackhammer is almost on par with any combo you can actually pull off from the V-trigger lariats, but it switches sides, so this is how it works. Jackhammer if you're against the wall or if it's off, say, drive impact. V-trigger pop-up if your opponent is against the wall or you know that that exact combo can finish the fight. Finally, we come to the level 3. The Bolshoi Storm Buster. Not much to say with level 3s, they do massive damage, and the critical art, when you're lower than 30%, deals more damage with the cooler animation. In fact, this critical art is Zangief's ultimate atomic buster. Nothing really to say, just wanted to point out how good Capcom is to the character's iconic moves. Now, Zangief's level 3 is the most intimidating level 3 to learn, as it's 2 360-degree inputs. But again, all the animation workarounds for the regular work for the double 360. So knee hammer, the rush, drive impact, and punishing with a crouching forward heavy near the wall. In fact, that's probably the best way to get the most damage out of it. Still, a jump will scupper this move, so be careful when using it. But to be honest, I doubt you'll need it all that often, as overall, Zangief hits like a freaking train. He is very much like Strive's Potemkin this time around. Big damage rewarding the good choices you make makes those supers just feel like icing on the cake. And his biggest weakness in the form of projectile games are made slightly easier with the parry system and rushes. Unless you're against JP, because a projectile that counts as a grab is a very smart idea when you're introducing a parry system and drive system that only weakness is grabs. We'll just have to see how that one shapes out. Still, while he is good, he still has weaknesses. His Armored Express, as I've said, is very telegraphic, and people who know what they're looking for can punish and make you feel a bit stupid. And you are pretty much only using that level 2 or level 3 super, unless you need a drive-free ender off the Hell Stab. No matter what, it's going to be an uphill battle. You have a very limited way to get in. If they are using a lot of projectiles, you've just got to play it smart. Parry, block, rush. These type of things are how you get it. After that, you just remember it's all about the conditioning. You drag them into the loop and they'll have a really hard time getting back out. But don't be formulaic. This isn't some dry humid flowchart BS. You gotta do some predictions and expect that some players you are just never going to condition. You can do 3 SPDs, rush in expecting them to now jump, and instead they still stand there accepting death as you whiff that dynamite. It happens, just don't be tilted when it does. Keep that in mind and you will show that your iron body is invincible. And if you want this channel's iron body to be invincible, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, pile drive the bell thingy, and follow me on the Twitch and Twitters. Also, if you have found any tips and tricks you found yourself, or just want to tell us who your favorite Street Fighter character is, let us know in the comment section below. And finally, tune in next time, where we will probably go with Luke, since I already had the script ready. But until that day, this has been Techno Odin. Stay safe, claim skulls, smash bosses, and break records.
Started from the bottom and I'll never look back. Look at all my haters, y'all making them mad. Street Fighter 6.